Hi there, Ronan McMahon here, talking to you from a breezy Cabo San Lucas. I'm hunkering down in a cactus garden. We'll have a quick tour in a few minutes, but first a question from the Rita members mailbag, and this question goes along the lines of Ronan, short-term renting or long-term renting, which makes most sense? And like many of these questions on our beat, that the first step is to map out what you're in this for. So why are you in this beat of international real estate? Are you doing it purely for income? Are you doing it for a mix of income and capital appreciation? Or is the lifestyle component very important? Is putting yourself in a stunningly beautiful place like here in Cabo San Lucas for part of the year also an important consideration? So you need to get this down first, because that will inform the next step, which is to figure out whether you want to be in this for short-term renting by the night or renting by the week, or long-term renting, which typically would equate to a year's contract. And also there's a third way, which we'll come to at the end before the tour of the cactus garden. So answering this question is critical. First, because if you want to buy and own in a place and visit frequently for short breaks, then essentially long-term renting is going to come off the table. If you want to own somewhere like here in Cabo San Lucas, where you'll come and visit maybe 4 or 5 times a year, then you want to be in the short-term rental business, because then you want to open your calendar, pick the dates when you want to be there, and make your home or condo available for short-term rental in those other times. So if you're looking to marry up personal use with income, then you want to be in a really, really strong short-term rental location, a place where you also physically want to be. Now, maybe that isn't part of the equation at all. Maybe you're purely in it for the income, in which case it becomes very much a equation of running the numbers, analyzing which route is going to net you the most income reliably over a period of time. So the things to consider here are renting long term. You're generally going to have more stability. You'll sign a contract, you'll get your monthly rent payments for the duration of the lease with the right property and strong locations. You know, it's very typical for that tenant to want to stay on year after year. So the costs of renewals and the costs of vacancy periods, you know, can be really very low in the right location with the strong flow of long-term renters. Then on the short-term side of the equation, you know, typically you have the potential to generate a lot more income renting short-term, renting by the night, again in the type of location that Rita members want to be, again like Cabo San Lucas, where I'm talking to you from here. So short-term renting can generate a significantly higher gross income, but you do have bigger costs. You have the cleaning costs, you have the costs from the platforms, and you also have the cut that your rental manager is going to take. So long-term rental, short-term rental. There is a third way, which is a strategy that can be highly effective to maximize revenue, leave capacity for you to be able to visit, and that's what I call the hybrid strategy, which would be in a destination, look to rent short term for maybe 6 to 8 months of the year, be in the short term rental business in the peak season. The peak season is typically the nicest time of year, probably when you want to be there too. So by being in the short term rental business during that time of year, it means you can create space in your calendar for personal use. And then for that other block of the year, find a single tenant for the 4 months or 6 months of off peak. So in reality, there's 3 potential routes we can go, and here's the Cabo wind coming up. This is why they say Semana Santa, or Easter, is coming, because the winds get up here as we roll towards Easter. But we have short-term renting just by the night, long-term renting by the month for a year's lease, and then we have the hybrid strategy, which is dividing the year into a period of a longer single tenancy and short term. There's also another thing you can do in a place like Cabo, and that's to keep the home for yourself for, say, 3 months of the year. You know, maybe you want to come here for January, February and March, and then find a single long-term tenant for those remaining 3 months. That's a strategy that can work extremely well in a strong market like here in Cabo. So there you have it. Of course, with all these strategies, buying at the right price is absolutely integral, because your yield is figured on the price you buy at, and buying the right real estate in the right location. And the reality is that by buying extremely well, right real estate, right location, right price, right developer, generally all options become available to you when you make the right purchasing decision, which is really, really cool, because then you can be fluid over time. Because the thing about renting long term is, you know, you avoid a lot of the headaches that can happen with short-term rental. It's lower maintenance on the property, it's less complicated in every way. And you know, maybe you want to just buy that dream home in a beautiful location and make a nice long-term rental yield while you're waiting for your situation to change. Maybe it's retirement, maybe it's the end of a phase of career and moving to something else. And when your situation changes, maybe you're going to want to use it a lot more or have a much higher degree of flexibility. So buying the right real estate is key, as always, to that. So there you have it. Profile yourself, be really, really clear why you're doing it, whether it's income, personal use, or capital appreciation. Run the numbers, make sure your profile, what you're actually looking for, lines up with a particular market. Some markets are incredibly robust for short-term rentals, less so for long-term. And then just be sure to buy the right real estate. Buying the right real estate at the right time, at the right price, it really just makes everything downstream from that so much easier. So there you have it, and let's have a very quick look at our cactus garden here. Really is stunningly beautiful. Really nice. And there is the ocean. So there you have it. Keep the questions coming, and I'll keep the answers flowing here.